Hey everyone, Eggman here with another video, and today we have a card and color overview for the Lorcana card game. We did get a bunch of new cards spoiled for us in the last couple weeks, and I'm recording this April 21st in case we just get a bunch more released or at least spoiled in the next couple days. So that's kind of what our card pool is for right now, but I haven't really done a video going over the cards specifically, especially since we do know kind of how the game works and the rules and the mechanics and essentially what the flow is for it as well. So I want to just make a video going over some cards that we've seen, my initial thoughts of each kind of color identity, and maybe even some kind of deck building examples. So pretty casual, pretty loose video for this one, but I think it's the best way to kind of go over these. We're going to go over each color independently as well. So we're going to start off with Ruby, which honestly doesn't have a lot of special cards for it right now. It doesn't have a lot of cards released for it. Only like, technically 9 have been shown, which is kind of poor. And most of them are just like vanillas or just cards with evasive in general. But evasive seems like a really good keyword card, but I do think it's really interesting that none of them have like any way to get lore with them. So that kind of stinks with it as well, because, I would think, oh, if I play this Goofy, he's able to gain some lore and then also can't be challenged. That would be really good, and I guess they seem it's too good for what it is, but that's kind of the idea for it there. The Aladdin is pretty neat for what it does too, though. So shift for 5, so you can put any on top of any Aladdin, which can also be any color. So we'll see that there's no Aladdins in this color, but we'll see some other Aladdins in other colors later. But Daring Exploit, during your turn, whenever this card banishes another character in a challenge, you get to gain 2 lore and your opponent loses 2 lore. So being able to get like that double swing is actually pretty good for what it is. It's also a 5/5, which means it's probably pretty good at getting rid of your opponent's cards and just getting some effects off that. So it does cost 7, so it is a chunkier guy. But again, playing it for 5, I think, is very strong for it too. And we've also seen like the Mickey Mouse for forever. We know what these 4 dots mean now. And then also there's the Mulan. So during your turn, whenever this character banishes another character in a challenge, or other characters get +1 lore this turn. So being able to do that to get some additional lore, which means that you could use the Mulan, and then you can have like a Tigger or a Goofy out, and then use those to gain lore while also not being able to be challenged next turn, which means they're moderately safe for that. So it looks like, Red's more about kind of like the battle, being able to challenge and banish and just have some removal. So kind of red kind of always has looked like the aggressive color, and it's kind of like that for right now as well. But I think this Mulan actually seems like a really good card again too. If you have a lot of cards with evasive, this really pairs very well with them in your turn. So you have to banish another character for it, which is kind of easy if your opponent's questing with a lot of smaller dudes, but I think that's there. So, and then obviously like Maleficent, Dragonfire gets a lot of banish power for that too. So that is kind of how Ruby looks. We're going to look at Sapphire, and Sapphire has a lot of cards, and we kind of already know what the playstyle for it, and it's got a lot going on, to be honest. It has a lot of ways to get what we're going to use the word ramp, but get more cards into your inkwell, as well as being able to draw a lot of cards to get some cycle, which is really nice, and just cost reduction. So you get the being able to get more ink in your inkwell, as well as being able to have things cost less, which means you just get a lot of value from there. So also something that traditionally it was the action cards and item cards that didn't have any not able to be put in your inkwell, but the Mickey Mouse is one of the first characters that we saw without that. So there are some characters you can't put in your inkwell, which is kind of a good balance thing, because this guy is kind of nice for what it is. Whenever you play this character, you may play the top card of your deck into your inkwell face down, exerted. So being able to just play a body that then also lets you ramp one is kind of nice there too. And then also, we also have kind of like this inventor kind of archetype too. So with Belle, whenever you this character quests, you can pay 1 less for your next item you play, which is quite good. Which can include just like songs as well, or no, sorry, only items. So right now we only have like Coconut Basket, but again, something I really want to stress is that none of the stuff, unless it says so, should be color restrictive. So this could be 1 less for an item in a different color, since you do have 2 colors available to you whenever you make decks. So there's that. But the item that we have here, Coconut Baskets, which I've seen a lot of people say this card's pretty nuts for what it is. Cocoa nuts? All right, sorry. Consider the coconut whenever you play a character, you may move up to 2 damage counters from chosen characters. So it's not the character that you play, unless for whatever reason it comes in with damage, so you can remove it. But for example, let's say you had your Belle, you used it to quest last turn, and then or even if you, let's say you use it to quest last turn, you do it again, it has like maybe some damage counters on it. You can play the coconut basket just for now 1, and then you can play another character, and then you can heal the bell by 2. So it seems like a good back and forth for that, being able to keep your stuff healthy in the early game. You do have to give up some tempo by playing this, but if it's easier to play from there, that's good. And then Maurice, also kind of same thing. Whenever this character quests, you gain 2 less, so just kind of like a ramped up version of Bell. And then also whenever you play an item card, you get to draw a card, which is also great. I think card draw is something that's going to be really important in this card game, specifically since you have to use 2 resources every turn, 1 to put into your inkwell and then 1 to play. So that could be something where I think, again, card draw is going to be very, very valuable in a lot of ways. So the last 2 cards we're going to talk about, I guess we'll talk about 3 more. Let It Go. Put the chosen character in their player's inkwell face down exerted. So this can be either character, and then so that can mean, like, let's say you use your Mickey Mouse, or let's say your Bell, right? You use this effect, and then you don't think it's going to survive the next turn anyway, so you can use it there, and then you can ramp yourself. Or if you have an opponent's card that you really want them to get rid of, then you can use that there too. There's also Scar. Whenever you play this card, chosen opposing character gets -5 power or strength for the turn, which is kind of nice. And also develop your brain. This card's really good. Action, look top 2 cards of your deck, put one of them into your hand, the other to your bottom of your deck. So it's a free cycle, which is great. It does cost 1, and sorry, it's cycle for 1, and it's not for free. But being able to look at top 2, choose the one you really need for the thing, and not really lose any card advantage for it is nice there too. So I think that's it for Sapphire. Sapphire reminds me a lot of like Blue in like Bandai card games, which I'm from a lot of the time. Again, like being able to get some card draw, being able to get some ramp up power, and some kind of, usually not super great, but some removal, like Let It Go, I think is good, but just being able to be flexible for what it is. Our next ink color is now Emerald, which we strictly don't have a lot for this color, but this looks like it's a really kind of good, like, for tempo in a lot of ways too. So so we do have this Aladdin, which is important because you could use like green and red, and you can use this Aladdin on top of the other, or you can shift into this one off the other one. Also, it has wards, so opponents can't choose this character except to challenge, which means that it has protection there, which means that you can pretty easily put this on turn 2, and then you can shift into your big guy on turn 5 pretty consistently there, because he does have that protection, which is nice. So that could be something for what this card game does too. We've seen the Corella de Vil being able to, whenever this card is challenged and banished, return the chosen character to player's hand, which is any character as far as I know. So it just means that you can easily just like quest with this every turn, and if they try to get rid of it, then you can during when it's challenged, you get to bounce something back to their hand, so that's nice there too. Lady Tremine, whenever you play this card, you may return an action card from your discard pile to your hand, which can be good. Like, drawing a card is great. The fact that it's cost 6, it's a 1/5, and also can't be put in your inkwell is a little bit rough. I'll say that again, with no questing either. So I don't know if this is worth it yet, but that's something. And also Cheshire Cat, when this card is challenged, banish the challenging character. So that's also kind of same thing. It has 0, but being able to get some removal. So like kind of, it looks like green is more of like having like some, again, like tempo, going for 1/1. So having like something cheaper on your side, but is he able to remove something of your opponents and get that value there? That's kind of how I'm seeing this guy. So we'll have to see as we get more green cards or emerald cards, but that is the idea there. Next up, we have Amber, and we have quite a few Amber cards, to be honest. It's kind of understood how a little bit more how this one works. So we have we have like this Hey. I actually think this card's pretty good. So support, whenever this character quests, you may add their power to another chosen character's power this turn. So this is just a 1/2 that you can just add 1 power to something when you quest. So like it gets like a little 2-for-1. We have LeFou, so loyal. If you have a character named Gaston in play, which I don't think we've seen a Gaston yet, you can play this for 1 less. So being able to get that, pretty easier for 1 less is cool. Also, just in time you play a character with a cost of 5 or less for free. That seems pretty good. I don't know. Like always, anytime you can cheat out character cost for any card game usually has some kind of strength to it. So you do have to go 2-for-1 on that, but being able to play something for 1 less is kind of good there. So for example, you could be playing this Hades. So when you play this character, you return a character card from your discard to your hand. So like this kind of helps you get that. I think that's like a nice little combo there. We also do have like more like in color shifts as well. So we have like the Stitch, which is just a 1, but you can go into the Rockstar. So you can play it on top of it for 4. And then also Adoring Fans. Whenever you play a character with 2 costs or less, you can exert them to draw a card. So getting that card draw, I think, is really good. Yellow just really seems to be an idea of like, it looks like it has a little bit more card draw than anything else, as well as like a lot of just synergy with having cards exerted to be able to get additional cost. Also, Lantern seems pretty good. You may pay to tap this. You may pay 1 less for your next character you play this turn. So if you're only playing 1 character a turn, I would honestly say that Lantern's probably just better than Just in Time in the fact that you get to continually do this. You do have to give up like turn 2 to do this, which isn't too bad. But then you paying 1 less for everything is pretty great. In from my understanding there. What else we got? Oh yeah, Stitch is good, and then also Hades, which could be its own archetype. So shift for 6. This character also gets +1 questing for each villain character you have in play. So which probably counts each other. So but if you play a bunch of villains, and then you can just get have this quest for a lot, and then it's a 6/7, which means it's hard to get rid of there. Moana also kind of the same thing, but for princesses. So whenever this character quests, you may ready your other princess characters. They can't quest for the rest of the turn, but just that protection that they'll be standard. So like for example, you could quest with Minnie, and then you can play after you quest with Moana, then you get the Minnie back, which means you can even use it for attack. I would assuming you can quest and then attack, because it just says it can't be quest, but you can attack with it afterwards, which is nice. And then part of your world, you just get to draw something from your discard pile, which is nice too. So and you could also just do something where you could use part of your world with something like, let's say we have a 3-cost princess, so like not Minnie Mouse wouldn't be one of them, but you could do that, and then you could use Moana to quest with this, which means you get to restand your princess you just used for the cost of part of your world. So there's some combos there. I think that's good. And in general, it looks like this deck really kind of has like an idea of either like exerting your characters and getting them to restand, and just kind of everything else. So it looks really interesting. Again, being able to play stuff for cheaper is always a really good thing in card games. So we'll see if that gets broken in yellow or amber in general. Next up, we have Amethyst, which is the purple color. We have kind of an idea for it. We have Yzma. So whenever this character quests, look at the top part of your deck, put that on top or bottom. So being able to get some kind of idea of what your next turn looks like is great, and being able to fix that too. We have like White Rabbit's Pocket Watch. So for 1 and tapping, the characters gain rush. This could actually be really good. Like the immediate combo when I saw this. So we'll start at this one. So Mickey Mouse, you pay 1 less for your broom characters. So these now cost 1, which is great, which I would assume if you have 2 out, they cost free, which is really great. And then also Ceaseless Worker, when one of your broom characters is banished in a challenge, you may return that card to your hand. So you could do something where you could have 2 of these out. You have these brooms that are 2/2. Whenever you play this card, you also shuffle a card from any discard pile to the player's deck, which is obnoxious too. So play the broom, and then you get to give it rush, and then it's for free, and then you attack with it, and then you can get it back to your hand, and then play it again, which then it has like your summoning sickness. But being able to just get like really, really good value off of being able to cycle your brooms a lot, and being able to get them back for free and cheap, I think is great. So I think that's like immediately like a combo, all 3 of these. Again, being able to play brooms for cheap, having them attack, then being able to play them again, and being able to have them immediately attack again, I think is a good like loop for a deck this early in the game. We also have Elsa, which we saw, which means you can exert something, which gets that there. And then also Magic Mirror for 4, you get to draw a card, which again, I really do expect this game to have an issue based immediately. The fact that you draw 1 card per turn, and then also you want to play something every turn, and you also want to put something in your inkwell every turn, right? So it's every turn you're like losing a card in hand a lot of the time. So these cards, even though they're expensive, I think card draw is something you have to really value in a card game like this. And if the game goes a little bit long, then it's whoever has more value in these cards, or just infinitely being able to cycle your magic brooms, I think is a good spot there too. So that is that for Amethyst. And then we just have one more. It's Steel. And Steel kind of has like this, it has a lot of ideas of like being able to challenge stuff, but also more kind of on the defense and also have like direct damage for it. So it looks like more of like a control kind of archetype in a lot of ways, especially since like Fire the Cannons, it deals 2 damage to chosen character. Since we don't have life in this game, you try to get 20 of your questing points instead. This, you know, in I'd say traditional card games, especially something like Magic, this would be something that would be able to do like 2 damage to your character or your opponent, right? Being able to do that flexible. So this is a little bit less flexible because you can't, obviously, this can't win you the game if you just do 4 Fire the Cannons kind of thing, but this can be really impactful of clearing the board, especially since this pairs up really well with the Captain Hook, which double the powder. Whenever you play this character, you may turn an action card named Fire the Cannon, which that one from your discard pile to your hand, which is nice there too. So being able to kind of like, again, any cards that draw cards, which this does draw you a card, I think is going to be very invaluable in this card game. And I think that's something you really need to make sure to check out. So, which includes the Beast Mirror. So if you have no cards in hand, for only 3 instead of the 4 that we saw in the other mirror, you get to draw cards. So that's fine. This means that if you're playing really aggressively and using a lot of cards in your hand, you get to draw one. And which just means like if you're playing a deck that's really low to the ground, that's just playing a lot of weenies, that means it's really easy for your hand to be empty. I could see this too. So even though like it could be like this could be both ways. I'm thinking defensive because of this, and also it has like the Gontu, so characters with 2 costs or less can't challenge your characters, which is kind of nice. But so I can see like they probably have some defense stuff, but it looks like I like in this like this challenger +2 is good on the defense side because you're attacking something that's already been challenged already. So I think there's just like a lot of potential for like cracking back, but I even just with Beast Smear, like I could see this being, you know what, let's just play a lot of cards that are low to the ground, just keep playing them out. When I'm out of cards, I get to draw one and I get to play for cheap again. So we'll have to see how this color develops. It looks interesting there. Last card I want to talk about is Hercules, which has Bodyguard. So this character may enter play exerted. An opposing character who challenges one of your characters must choose one with the Bodyguard if able. And this could just be me not knowing it, but I'm pretty sure it just means that they have to, it means that this card has to be exerted for them to attack into it. So if this card isn't exerted, they can't, like the Bodyguard doesn't work because they normally can't attack this card, if that makes sense. So that's my idea for how this card works. My guess is that you'd always have this card exerted anyways because you'd want to quest with it or like attack with it too. So I don't think it'd be a big issue, but that's just kind of some wording that I'm not 100% sure on. So if you guys know in the comments, let me know. But that is it. That's pretty much all the cards that we have available to us right now, again, as of April 21st. But already, like, I already feel like there's some synergies that I'm really interested in and want to build some decks around. And just kind of excited to explore a new card game that the meta isn't already defined with, which I get with some of my other card games that I play with. So anyways, that's going to be it for me. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys like this video, make sure to hit like and subscribe. Let me know you want me to do another one when we get some more cards, and that will be it for me. So again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you all next time.